For those of you that don't know me, this is my first time being in politics. I just got frustrated with what I've been seeing going on up there. And I come from a family that we were always brought up to believe that if you see something you don't like or something needs fixing, don't sit on the sidelines, don't sit back, do something, get involved, fix it. So anyways, I'm Mike Goggin. I live in Red Wing. I grew up there, graduated high school there. I went to work for Red Wing Shoe Company after I got my business degree from Gustavus. They sent me around the country in their retail store division, so I ran stores, I trained managers, I troubleshot stores, did basically anything they needed to help the stores be successful. So I've had 16 years of retail store business. So I learned how to work with customers, how to work with different vendors, how to work with fellow employees, hire the right people for the job. But then I realized in 2001 that nobody ever leaves Red Wing Shoe. They tend to just kind of happen in place and nobody retires. So I decided I had to make a career change. At 38 years old, I went back to school and got my electrical engineering degree, and jokingly told my wife if I can't get a job in Denver, maybe I can get one at the new plant outside of Red Wing. Here we are, 12 years later. My wife and I, Pam, we just celebrated our 26th wedding anniversary last Thursday. We have two boys, David and Dylan. My oldest one graduated from Angelo State University this past May. He's now out in Colorado at Colorado School of Mines. He's pursuing his doctorate in chemical engineering. My other son, Dylan, he's down in La Crosse. He's in his second year of junior hockey, and we'll be going off to college next fall. He's talking about going to Colorado State out in Fort Collins. My wife and I got married in Denver. We lived there for 17 years, so the boys were from that area. They, for some reason, want to get back to Colorado. But anyways, couldn't be more proud of my boys. They took to heart what my mom and dad always taught us. Hard work never hurts anybody. Get a good education. That's why I went back to school, because mom and dad always said, you never go wrong with a good education. So invest in yourself, get the education, go be a productive member of society. But why I'm running? My family's been involved in Red Wing for 50 years, community service. Whatever my mom and dad could get on for boards, committees, charities, they did it. Okay? And myself and my brother and my sisters, we do the same thing. Whether it be the hockey association, anything in the sports with all the kids, we got involved with it. When I moved back to town, signed my kids up for soccer, and the first thing they asked me is, we need a president, can you help? So I took over the soccer board, and the board and I, after 5 years, we raised our registration a total of $10 in 5 years. But we also increased registration to over 200 kids and their families. And we made it a great experience for the kids, and found ways to make it easier for board members. I'm a problem solver, that's what I do. We couldn't keep registrars on the board because the paperwork for registering the kids with NYSA, Minnesota Youth Soccer, was so cumbersome. So I found a web developer that was we were able to work with him, and they made our website, made it so that it would work with the NYSA software. And all our registrar had to do was upload the data, and they were done. And so made it much more convenient for them, much more convenient for the families. So that's what I do. I solve problems. I work as a project manager now at the nuclear plant. Last outage, I put in my team and I, we put in the generator step-up transformer. What that is we take 20,000 volts off of the generator, we step it up to 345,000 volts, we send it down power lines so our lights come on, our air conditioning come on. And it took a lot of coordination between the generator replacement team and my team, and we pulled it off without any hitches. We had everything working, first shot lining everything up to get everything lined up with the plant, and all the testing that we went through, post-maintenance testing. So that's what I'm going to bring to the Senate. I'm going to bring the ability to work across different lines, work with different people from various backgrounds, whether it be like the management at the plant, out to the trade union folks out at the plant. I have that ability to build relationships across the board, and that's what I'm going to take to the Senate. The other thing is, my dad was an accountant, so I learned how to put numbers in little boxes at a very young age, and he hated wasteful spending. You didn't waste a penny. We grew up in the Depression, my mom and dad did, and so they were lucky to know if they even had one meal, much less 2 or 3 meals a day. And so nothing got wasted, and that's how they approached everything. how I look at things, you know. So what got me was a lot of what Steve said, but he left out a couple of things. Senate Legislative Office Building. It was a last minute ad in 2013. $90 million. 77 million for the building and 13 million for a parking garage, I think it was. Now, every year, we in this room, as well as everybody in the state, get the pride and joy of paying $8 million roughly a year for operation, maintenance, and service on the debt. Okay? So let's say it's 20 years that building's gonna be there. That's $160 million. So, didn't need it. You know, as a project manager, I like to have my team co-located so we can all work together. I kind of do it, equate it back to manufacturing principle of just-in-time manufacturing. Get people together, work on it, hammer it out. Everybody has their own specialty. We get the solution and we implement it. Okay. Last year, July 1st, what did Governor Dayton do? Paid off his cronies. He had that one day to do it. He did it. Took full advantage of it. What happened with the insured executives this last year? They got bonuses for failure. Okay. Last year, the Senate Democrats voted themselves a 35% pay increase. I'm in a union. I've been in it since September of 2004. I went back and looked at all of my cost of living adjustment raises. 26%, 12 years. They did it in 1 year. Fortunately, Steve and the House Republicans stopped that. But what's on our ballot this year? Constitutional amendment. And that constitutional amendment is to allow the governor and the Supreme Court Justice, the head Supreme Court Justice, to put together a commission to determine legislator salary. So the legislators don't have to vote on it. And I'm being attacked in the media right now with hit pieces that say I don't want to have the voters have any say in it. No, I don't want that commission, because that smells bad with cronyism. What do you think Governor Dayton's gonna do? You think he's gonna put a bunch of Republicans or conservatives on that commission? How about the Supreme Court? How conservative are they here in the state?
Yeah.
So, we gotta find another solution to it. You know what? Whatever that is, I mean, we can come up with all kinds of thoughts right now, but that's not the answer, in my book, okay? I don't see why they need $10,000. That's what the Democrats have been trying to get the last, 4 years, 5 years? So when you take $31,100, which is the salary of a legislator up there, and you take it times 35%, you're about $10,000. So it's not about money, at least not for me. I wanna be a public servant. I wanna get up there, I wanna do what's in my blood. My blood is tells me, I gotta go up there, I gotta make things right for people so we can all live fruitful lives. Go out and pursue opportunities that we wanna pursue, not based on what the government tells us we can do. We all have to have that ability to go after whatever we so choose with our God-given talents and skills. And so that's what I'm gonna take to the Senate. I think I have what it takes to work with varied people, varied backgrounds, and come to meaningful decisions, come to good decisions, common sense. And that's what I'll do. You know, like I said, my mom and dad are involved with community service, I'm gonna carry it on. I like it, I enjoy it, it's fun. And I'll tell you what, I've learned a lot in this campaign trail this year, and it has been a total blast for me. People think I'm nuts when I tell them I love the doorknob. So I get to meet all kinds of people like yourself. And the reception at the doors has been overwhelming for me. I can't say enough good things about it. People are really encouraged, they're real happy that I'm running, and they want to hear what I have to say, and they get behind me because they know it's gonna happen. There's a reason why the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce endorsed me. There's a reason why Minnesota Farm Bureau endorsed me. There's a reason why National Federation of Independent Businesses endorsed me. There's a reason why Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life endorsed me. And then the NRA, as Steve was saying, has decided not to endorse anybody in this race. I got an A rating. My opponent got a B minus. So, be it what it is, you know what? I am all about the Second Amendment. Second Amendment isn't out there for us to be able to go duck hunting or deer hunting or pheasant hunting or whatever. It's to defend our freedom from foreign and domestic, and stand from oppressive government. That's why it's the Second Amendment behind freedom of speech. There's a reason why those two come first. And I will defend those two to the ends of the earth. And we cannot give up those freedoms. And I can't believe that people are so willing to give that up. Because there were a lot of people, a lot of years ago, that gave up their livelihood, their fortunes, their lives, everything, for what we have today. And to throw that away is what Steve said, indefensible. I can't understand people who think like that. So that's why I'm running. Appreciate all your help, your support this last year, and my phone's always on. Feel free to give me a call anytime. I'm on call 24/7. So I'm on call for work. I'm on call for this. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that people might have.
Just have to comment. I see Matt Schmidt signs right from Plainview, and they're just plastered everywhere. It makes me very upset. I know these people, and so I started doing a little research on his voting record, which was kind of hard to find, but I found all these ratings. I mean, he's an urban Minneapolis lawmaker. So why do we in southeast Minnesota, they have their representatives, why do we want to elect another one from here? And we gotta have somebody that has our back. So I looked up these ratings. Matt Schmidt has a 0 rating from MCCL, a 0 rating from Minnesota Family Council, 100% rating from Planned Parenthood Minnesota, a 14% rating from NFID, no, 8%, a 14, oh, I got that wrong. It was 14 from NFID. From the Chamber of Commerce, he was 8% the first year. He actually was 67% last year, but his lifetime is really pathetic. And these are our job creators, our revenue producers. He should be running in downtown Minneapolis. And that message has got to get out. I've been telling people that I see. I stopped at one in Plainview and I said, what is the sign doing out front? Because I know where he is. So I made some copies, I gave that sheet, and he was mad that the sign is still up. No, signs don't vote. But
I noticed the same thing. Some of my neighbors, I see that every Sunday they're pro-life and they have Matt Schmidt signs up over their yard. And I haven't been up to knock on the door and say, did you know that they're endorsed by Planned Parenthood yet? But I have a feeling somebody's door knocking and not telling them exactly who this person is because these neighbors are elderly. And so I'm not sure either what's going on. I was going to ask you, I'm glad you said that you're supported by the Minnesota Concern for Life.
anyway, this message has got to get out. This guy is a fraud. I mean, he's pathetic.
He tells them what they want to hear. There are no doubts.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Well, Gene, you put a lot of research into that.
What?
You put a lot of research in that. Can we get that out in a letter?
I am. I'm gonna.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna mention, letters to the editor are huge.
You can't do that in Wabasha.
No, they won't.
Wabasha will not publish a letter to the editor for politics.
Really?
That's right, and you probably got the same thing in Plainview, because Wabasha owns that too.
You can post them in Plainview.
You can?
Absolutely.
Editor there will publish. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, then what's gonna take, it's gonna take a ground game.
Smith down
We need to get knocking on those doors and telling them,
Well, if you have a neighbor that you do, just go and show it, just tell them. I mean, and chances are, even if they got a sign up, I mean, a lot of people put a sign up just because they're nice. I learned many, many years ago when I worked on a guy that was running that we had signs everywhere. If signs voted, he won by a landslide, he got beat. So, signs don't necessarily vote, but it's still.
There's a hit piece on it too that has my endorsement of MCC also. I'm against women's health care. And I'm against stem cell research apparently because of that. So. Yeah, so it's gonna take challenging them and just talking to them. I mean, just tell them, hey, this is what you're promoting here, and this is one person who's promoting, but here's the other person.
With all the information you've collected, is there some way that you could get some of that information to the rest of us to use? I mean.
Well, just go on it. You can Google. I just went and I said, Matt Schmidt, Minnesota voting record. Well, then I got this It had all kinds of websites. There's one that has ratings from all these different groups. And they don't give specific votes. You could probably dig deeper and find specific votes, but you can get a pretty good idea just by the ratings from these groups. And it had the full range of people, of groups, from conservative to liberal. And he was obviously, he was on the very bottom of the conservative groups and way up to 100% of the liberal groups, so.
He comes to Wabasha once a month on his walk for coffee.
Oh. Yeah, so,
I'm wasting no time going to see.
You should, you should. I mean,
he
you can
does
talk
that in
to him.
Plainview too.
Nobody
Yeah,
comes.
yeah. What is
That's
he?
why his signs are everywhere. is
He's
because-
coming, isn't he?
What, he's been there 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
door knocking, and he gets around.
He's done that the last year, he has the Saturdays and that. That way he gets free advertising in the paper, because they have to put it in.
Well, you know, I think a person needs to be respectful, but he needs to be challenged.
That's why when he shows up in your area, go down and talk to him. You know, have a cup of coffee with him, talk to him.
Yeah.
And,
Tell him how wrong he is on everything.
well,
Better get to
I think
be
the
civil
person
about it,
needs to
you know, be civil and just ask him, you know, why did you do this? Why did you vote for Mincher? Why did you vote for that $2 million tax increase? Why did you vote for the equipment farm repair tax? Why did you vote for the warehouse tax? That one hit me especially hard because my family's been involved with President Shoe Company for over 40 years. Okay? My brother-in-law and his brother are still working out there, my dad retired from there. And to see a $20 million warehouse get shelved because they wanted to put another warehouse tax out there. But right now, we're paying 17% on each item in our warehouses. So that's a hell of a tax that we're paying. And, you know, for Redmond to wanna build another warehouse and put more workers to work, not existing ones, but they're gonna bring in new workers. These are new jobs, long-term jobs, good benefits. You got took by the wayside. I talked to numerous companies that said, we moved over to Wisconsin, or we went up to North Dakota, or South Dakota. Cause their customers are telling them, we're not gonna pay that additional tax. You will not pass it on to us. We'll go elsewhere to get our product.
So Matt Schmidt killed jobs in Red Wing.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Job killing senator.
And then now, because we're on the river, right? Wabasha, Lake City, Red Wing, Lahona. What happens when we get that $28 a barrel tax on the beer? You wanna know what? They're gonna head to Wisconsin, cause I went over and talked to the owner of the Harbor Bar, and I talked to the owner of the Woodshed. And they said, you guys keep doing exactly what you're doing, cause we love your business.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And you guys can raise your taxes, do everything you want, we'll take it. So we gotta think about that. That's the thing is, that's why I think I have the best skill set there, is because I'm able to take a look at the whole picture, break it down into manageable parts, find the right people, get the right data, make the right decisions. That's what I do every single day at work, every single day.
One of the things I wanted to suggest in the Plainview area is you have a lot of Wabasha County sheriff deputies living in the area along with your sheriff. They have Schmitz.
got that right.
They have his back. They need him.
Yeah.
They need him for all the things that they wanna see passed. Now, Matt and I have gone head to toe more than once, and mostly it's about Wabasha County Safe Driving Program. He has committed on an annual basis, I'm not bringing it up again, I'm done, we lost it again, I'm never gonna bring it up again, I promise you, Bev. And the very next year, I'm back up there because he's brought it up again. And he wants to take the program that was judicially determined to be an illegal program. And he wants to take the exact same program and work with legislation to pass it as a legal program. Now, why would you take an illegal program and make it legal just because the sheriff wants to bring in $450,000 in a period of time? Because he gets all this money every time he teaches a class. So he's out there and he is helping, and deputies are helping get those signs up. And I'm telling you, I had this issue with another individual that was running for office 4 years ago, he's running again this year, local office. sheriff literally brought him to my house to campaign in the sheriff's pickup truck. And right after he left, which was 2 hours later, he went to Mazeppa and filled up that pickup truck with his credit card from Wabasha County. But he was out supporting a candidate. And it's like, well, Beth, please, just put a sign up. It doesn't matter that you have this other person's sign that's running against him up already. Just put his sign up too. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I mean, when I put a sign up, it's because I believe in that person. But think about 2 hours of having your sheriff in your yard, pointing out where your cameras are to protect yourself, telling that person how many guns he thinks I have. And I live out in the country, kind of in a hole, can't see my house from the road most of the year. I came this close to being intimidated to put the other person's sign up. Because if I need that sheriff, I can't have a medic. How many of those elderly people that are putting up his signs are fearful because of who's helping them get the signs up? Just a thought. You need to go talk to them, you need to explain to them that they don't have to do this.
How can you be Christian and Democrat? I can figure that out yet.
Mike, do you have a plan to come around to local towns, Wabasha, Plainview, to introduce yourself like this at a coffee shop?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm elected right now.
Right now?
When I
before
get,
the-
I'm working full-time on my real job. I'm not campaigning 60, 70 hours a week like my opponent said last week that he's doing, because it's a full-time job for him. I still work 40, 50 hours a week at the power plant, so I have to meet my commitments to my employer. Okay? And so I take that responsibility very serious.
So you are or you're not going to?
I
from now until
will do
November?
my best. I go on vacation starting October 15th. So, I'm full board.
Knock down doors, so. That's the one thing, I've put up a number of signs for you, that the one thing they say is, who is he? And I do my best.
Mike,
Correct.
He's,
To say-
he's out there a lot better than the other guy, that one with the red sign.
Now, the same thing happens with him too, but the things Schmidt does, people really like. Maybe not necessarily voting record, but just simply being
He's out there,
accessible,
yep.
have a cup of
Yep.
coffee.
Well, when your job is
Yeah,
being
I
a full-time legislator and then being a prominent small business owner at a political consulting company, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So, but yeah, no, I've been talking with my staffers about it, my team about it. I said, and I, anybody that has a coffee shop or anything you want me to go to, please, let me know when I should be there, what time, and I'll be happy to make arrangements to do it. So, yes, sir.
If you're elected, what committees do you think you would want to be on?
The Energy Committee, the Farming Committee, the Egg Committee, and then HSS, or HHS, Health and Human Services. I think we don't have enough representation there for pro-life people in that area, and, I want to be the voice for unborn.
Did you get, put in a request to get a committee, or do you have to be invited? I don't know how that works.
Chris,
You,
pretty much get appointed, don't you?
you get appointed by the Speaker of the House and I suppose the Majority Leader of the
Majority
Senate.
Leader in the Senate.
You put in your request and then they deal with them the best they can.
So,
Usually you can prioritize the requests.
those would be the three of them, the energy and the HHS. It just needs fixing. Yes, ma'am.
Mike, what about these casts, the nuclear casts?
Oh.
Are you able to get them out to the Yucca Mountain now?
No.
Or can we reuse them? What's going on with that?
Okay, first off, I work for Excel Energy, so anything I say here is my opinion, my views only.
Okay.
I do not speak for Excel Energy. We have enough storage space out at the plant right now to put every one of the fuel rods in dry cask storage and have them out on our spent fuel tank. Okay? Not the ideal place to put them. In 1979, I had 78, 79 timeframe, Jimmy Carter put the kibosh on reprocessing nuclear fuel because he thought it was gonna be a national security issue. And ever since, we've been stuck trying to figure out how to get around that issue and deal with that. However, one thing with nuclear power, I'm a huge fan of nuclear power, and it's not given its just due, I don't think. And when you take into account what's going on with the solar and the wind, right now they're being subsidized about $27 megawatt hour. Significant disadvantage for nuclear because we are highly regulated, not only the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, but the Industry and Nuclear Power Operators, the World Association of Nuclear Operators, and then all the states that we're in, okay? But with that being said, Yucca Mountain was killed by Harry Reid, so he's not seeking re-election this year. He's gonna retire into the sunset somewhere in Nevada. Hopefully so whether Yucca Mountain gets restarted or not, that's unknown. There is a group down in New Mexico that they're looking at a possible storage facility in New Mexico. Also Texas has a contingent that's looking to possibly put a storage facility in there. Also, one thing we need to look into is more research into the technology for new nuclear. There is a potential to be able to have new nuclear plants like molten salt reactors that could possibly reuse our existing spent fuel. And of course, now with what Hillary Clinton did with the uranium, they sold it all to Russia.
Sure.
So we're kind of in a hard spot there for natural resources for uranium.
So Mike, are you safe then with all these casts
Oh, yeah.
that are stored out there?
Yep. I can't go into details on them, but, yeah, yeah, they're safe. But, I would really like to see us look into, doing more research on the new reactor designs, and molten salt reactors. Breeder reactors have a good potential to reuse the existing fuel. One thing, if you've looked around the country, a lot of nuclear plants have shut down because of economic conditions. We have Kewaunee over in Wisconsin. It's a ghost town over there. They can't afford their fire, their ambulance, their police, anything over there. Property taxes have gone through the roof. Okay? They're looking to shut down a few plants in Illinois. Same thing. Out east in the northeast, they shut down a few nuclear plants up there. New York, Governor Cuomo actually did the right thing and came through and made legislation that actually gives nuclear credit as far as being a zero CO2 emissions plant. And then, so they're realizing that if they shut those plants down in New York, they're not gonna be able to afford the power. I mean, they're gonna be buying power out of Canada and other states, and it's just gonna be too costly for the electricity out there. So, that's where it's at with the nuclear. We've gotta give nuclear credit. I mean, the Clean Power Plan does not give any credit to the existing nuclears. It only says new nuclear and any plant that's got an extended power upgrade. Those megawatts are included in that Clean Power Plan. So that needs to be fixed. It takes credit for our existing nuclear. Because they are zero CO2 and they're the smallest footprint on land, land mass itself, with the highest reliability for baseload power. I just was reading an article today. There's a plant, wind plant going in North Dakota. It's gonna be a 300 megawatt plant. And it's gonna take 116,000 acres. It has 22 miles of road that they have to put in because you have to maintain those gearboxes and that inside the wind turbine. Little side note, down on I-90 with all the wind turbines down there, because we're in the climate that we're in the wintertime, grease gets kind of hard in the cold weather. You guys know that. So what they have to do is they have to put heaters on the gearboxes. So they need electricity to do that. Well, that electricity comes from South Dakota and Brookings. And that Brookings plant is a coal plant.
Yeah, okay.
Just to, you everything needs to be taken into its own context. You gotta look at the whole picture and say, is it really truly green? I mean, when you look at what's used to put those wind turbines together or the solar cells together, it comes from gas, the plastic, all of that. The chemicals that are used in the solar panels, they're toxic. I mean, they're there for eternity. The one thing that they have to look at doing, and Google and Tesla are looking into, is battery technology. And the battery technology, you have to have some way to store all this energy, because the sun doesn't shine 24/7, unless you're up in Alaska at certain times. And then the wind doesn't always blow. And then these wind turbines can only operate during certain weather conditions anyways. So you need a way to store the power. That's basically batteries or big capacity. And they're talking large buildings and a lot of mass for that. Plus you gotta have all the containment for if the batteries explode or cause leaks or whatever, you gotta have a berm to catch everything, and of course there's a lot of lead in there, so a lot of things to consider. So I'm not against renewables by any means, but large scale like that, I question why we're taking that farmland out of service, why we're taking other land out of service and putting these big huge solar and wind farms in, which I just heard there's talk about trying to get another one in Goodyear County. So that's my spiel on energy. I don't wanna bore you.
I'm just wondering that, in spite of all the positives you've mentioned, hasn't it been about 30 years since a nuclear plant's been built in the US because of EPA, and if you get past the EPA, the environmental groups keep suing and suing?
Yep. We are building nuclear plants down in Volo, down in the Carolinas. BC Summer is putting in 2 Westinghouse AP1000s units. They're the pressurized water reactors like ours here at Prairie Island. So those areas, it's a much, they're more acceptable nuclear in the southeast than they are anywhere else. California, for example, San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, they shut that down. They had problems with their steam generators, the new steam generators they were putting in. They were having issues with that, so they had to shut them down. It was too costly to redo it. Diablo Canyon is their last 2 reactors. They just announced about 3-4 months ago. They're gonna be shutting those down in roughly 2025 range, 2022, 2025. And they are gonna replace all of that energy with wind and solar. So you're gonna have all these solar and wind farms all across California. So when you're in a plane and you're flying over, make sure you have your sunglasses on with the sun. When you look down, you're probably gonna have a mirror looking at you.
You could bet there won't be any sight. Alec Baldwin won't be able to see them.
Yeah.
They won't be anywhere near him.
But, yeah, so I mean, it's, that's what we have to work on, is a good balanced energy mix. We can't just say we're gonna go all here and all there. We gotta figure out what's the best all-around mix for our needs.
Well, does the president wanna tax everybody that's trying to, for emissions and stuff? I say he starts over with Russia and China, go over there and meet with them, they're the biggest ones in the world.
It would be nice, but,
Yeah.
we have the Paris Accord, so we've got that going for us.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
Barb,
won't take any more time.
yeah, Barb Haley wasn't able to be here because of a death in the family, and then Jason Lewis didn't make it. Can either of you say a couple of words about Barb and Jason, or?
I can talk for Barb, I'll let Steve talk for Jason. I do have some of Barb's literature with me too, I'll make sure you guys get that. Barb is incredible, I can't say enough about Barb, enough good things about her. She has been just working her tail off. She's just you just wind her up and let her go, and off she goes. She's a spitfire, I mean, she's really, really good. And she has the biggest pleasure we don't want to see. I mean, she really wants to see everybody succeed, our communities be the best communities we can live in, want to raise our families in, have our grandkids around, work here, live here, and so I can't say enough good things about Barb, because she really will do what's in the best interest of everybody in 21A, and for that matter, the whole state of Minnesota. She's a hard worker. I just can't believe how hard she's been working. And she doesn't waste any time. I mean, she gets up in the That's what her husband tells me. He goes, I don't see her much, and the kids are like, we don't see you, and, you know, so she's a very hard worker, and she'll take that to the house as well. And I think when you get myself and Steve and Barb in there, you're gonna see some really good positive results coming out of the state senate for everybody here in the district. And it's gonna be good change. It's not gonna be burdensome on us. It's gonna be the right things to do to make sure that we have the ability to live our lives the way we wanna live them. And that's what Barb will do for us. She will work very, very hard for us.
And she's running for Tim Kelly's seat.
21A.
He's not running again, so represents Wabasha, Lake City, and
Goodyear County.
And then Jason Lewis is running for John Klein's spot.
Jason Lewis is running for the congressional seat here that includes, we're in this very southern part of that district, so it includes all of Wabasha, all of Goodhue County, and then it goes north, it includes all of Dakota County, a portion of Scott County, a little bit of Washington, and just a little bit of Ramsey, I think there's some St. Paul in there. Is it Ramsey County? I don't know if it is or not, but anyway, so that's his district. It's gonna be a very close race. It's about a 50-50 district right now, if you look at the balance of it. Jason's doing really well, he's working really hard. He's running against very much a true liberal. He's running against, anybody heard of who his opponent is? Angie Craig. Angie Craig. So most people haven't heard her name, and that's a good thing.
She's got a wife too.
So anyway, so it's gonna be a very difficult race. Jason needs your help. The Democrats are working really hard. It's one of their targeted races. They want to try to flip it and take this seat away from us. We need to make sure it stays in Republican hands. Jason is a very good principled conservative, is your congressman. You will love what he does, and he will be a member of Congress who will not be subject to or a tool of the leadership. He will be someone who leads, and who leads on your behalf. So you need your help, folks. Pound his signs and tell your neighbors about him, get the literature out there. Thank you.
We do have Jason.
We have
signs.
Jason Lewis signs and Trump signs, and if you want Lisa Bailey or Mike Goggin or Grass signs, let us know.
Lisa Bailey?
Lisa Bailey?
Where did that come from? Why Bailey?
Brian hasn't worked too much.
The names are supposed to be rather well. We do agree there. Bailey and Haley do sound alike.
Barb Bailey.
Okay, we have signs.
Just remember Barb.
We will have more signs at the headquarters
Yeah.
next week.
Lake City, we find we're in
Where in Lake
office.
Okay, we have office, a victory office, or whatever you wanna call it, it is 104 South Lake Shore Drive.
It's on Highway 61. But
It's on 61.
It's just south of
It's
the,
just
south
over
of
from
the
Alliance Bay.
Is that gonna
Right,
open that?
you're right.
We're not
Second
sure
door,
how
so
we're- how
we
we're-
have lined up volunteers for hours.
No.
If you have to call one of us or go on the website for Wabasha County, Republican Party, it will be down there when what hours it's gonna be. But we will have it from now until election day. So once everybody wins, then we have a place to actually party.
We have Trump signs there, we have a bunch of them
We
with.
have the Trump signs here and Jason Lewis signs here.
And Mike, do you have any signs in your
I
car?
have one left in my truck.
Okay, so
The
one
last couple of
lucky
days,
person-
I've had a lot of people on door knocking, you got a sign, put it out.
Steve, do you have any signs with you?
Yes.
And then, if it's a candidate forum, we're not endorsing any candidates for judges, but there are two candidates that are here, if you wanna talk to them afterwards. Dave McLeod and Tim.
Good evening.
They are here if you wanna talk to them about their races
I'm Tim Booth. I grew up in Caledonia.